Hi. I'm glad to be back to what I like to call nuts and bolts videos of my napkin note series, where essentially I look at a stock, break it down into pieces, and work out what I think or where I think this stock should be trading at. So this is my series on or this episode rather. It's on UACN. I have a few other stocks. I'm not decided whether I should do something on UPDC. I know somebody in the comment section always complain why you uncertain, and that's because financial markets in Nigeria, you don't have a steady calendar. There's so many things happening. Banking results could come out anytime from now. I'm sure in the next week would have one or two banking numbers. It could even come out this evening or this morning or this afternoon. So you don't have that certainty in your calendar, and you have to move with the tide, move with what you see. And like so, I don't know what will be my next video, but this video is about UAC of Nigeria. You can call it UACN, you can call it UAC. Both ways, you are right. I think that there's probably significant upside to this stock, and it seems like the financial markets or the equities market is sleeping on this stock. I'm not sure too many people have taken out the time to work out their numbers. Now, before we dive in, please note that this is not investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Go do your own research. These are my thoughts. This is a transaction in the works. My target price may change and could change anytime once there's more clarity, once I see the final numbers. But the thing about investing and just the stock market is sometimes you can't wait for the final numbers to take your decision. You have to do your own research, work out what's your worst case scenario. Does it make sense to get in? And then you get in. And if your worst case scenario doesn't happen, fine. Your worst case scenario comes to light, or your lowest target price becomes a reality. You exit, maybe you make a slight loss and all that. So that's how I view the world of investing. That's how I do my own investing and all that. But you do your own research. In some cases, possible stocks may not even be for you. So I know the information be nice and good. It's all looking vibely, and all that, but it just may not be your thing. Thank you to everyone who takes out the time to like, share, and subscribe. I humbly request that you do so. Every time you like, you share, you subscribe, you drop a comment, you interact. It it raises the algorithms in such a way. The more the interaction in quotes, the more interaction or buzz, your visibility or engagement, that's the right word. The more engagement you have with content, the more YouTube would push that content to a wider audience or a bigger audience. So every time you do so, it helps. Thank you as you continue to do so. And if you can't wait to the end of this video will be a short one compared to the previous video I did today. It's fine, it's totally fine. You have the Spotify version, which hopefully should be shorter. I'm not decided if the Spotify will come out before the video or the video before Spotify. Honestly, I'm not decided yet. It depends on how the video content will go. But I tend to record videos, then I do audio. So it's possible maybe you'd have them out at the same time. It's also possible you'd have it out just before the video drops. Let's see how it goes. UAC conglomerate listed on the NGX. It's a conglomerate, in essence, is a holding company for a bunch of firms. So they have stakes in it. You might call it an investment holding company, but I think UAC is a bit more active than your usual holding company at the likes. But yeah, you can call it that way. So essentially, conglomerate controls a bunch of firms. UAC has stakes in chemical and allied products. CAP is listed on the exchange. They manufacture paint. UPDC is a real estate firm, also listed. Livestock feeds, makes animal feeds, also listed. So these are all the listed entities that they have stakes in on the exchange. A few other popular names. UAC, through UAC, I think UAC Restaurants controls Mr. Biggs. Then you have UAC Foods. They do what? Gala. Everybody knows Gala. The Gala sausage roll brand. I think Funtime coconut chips and a few other things as well. So they have a lot of fairly popular brands as well. Late July, UAC announced that it had entered into an agreement to acquire Chi Limited from the Coca-Cola company. Now, Chi Limited, you very likely will know their brands. They are behind the Chivita fruit juice, Hollandia yogurt, Hollandia evaporated milk, and the like. So it's a major transaction. It's a really, really, really major transaction. I dare say it's probably one of the top 10 so far this year biggest transactions happening in Nigeria. So it's a huge deal. I don't think many people realize the enormity of this deal, but hopefully the numbers I have will show you that. So it's a deal in the works, announced in July, is yet to close. I think it will close maybe in another, who knows, 4, 5, 6 months, and the likes. Now the share price of UAC share price a few weeks ago crossed the 100 naira mark. I think it closed around 106 and some fraction. Pulled back a bit when the market started to dip, and so it's settled at 73. But in between, and if you follow my pre-market videos, my daily midday update videos, my daily market summary videos, and you can find all of them in playlists on YouTube wherever you are listening. So in case hopefully you're a new listener, just check the playlist segment. You see all the usual markets coverage videos all listed. So stock has been trading between 66, 67 to 69 in intraday trading. Intraday is within the day. Now it closes flat at 73 most times because you need a single block trade of 100,000 shares to move this stock. 100,000 shares, if my math is correct, that's like 7.3 million naira worth of shares traded. So every time you have that, and even for a lot of people who have that, why would I want to sell? So stock has been essentially at 73 for a while. I think that post transaction this stock will trade significantly higher. I don't know when the transaction will close. Maybe 6 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 1 year, maybe 8 months. I don't know, but I think it's safe bet to be somewhere between 6 to 8 months transaction close. I think this stock will trade significantly higher post transaction close, and here is my thesis on it. Now first, let's look at what I think UAC would end the year with. H1 25 revenue 110 billion, Q2 25 revenue 54 billion. Now the reason why I brought out Q2 revenue is you can use that as a run rate, because typically it's a, I mean, the holding firm, food is a big segment and all that. Food sales tend to be kind of pretty constant and all. So if Q2 revenue came in at 54, I think Q3 and Q4 revenues are going to accelerate to 60 billion. Why? Festive period, Q3, July, August, September, that's when you have a lot of people in the food space. They are stocking up. October, November, December, dirty December, things are popping. That's when you have higher purchase. Or when I mean higher purchase, I'm not talking higher purchase the term. I'm talking an increase in the purchase of goods and services. In the festive period, people spend more social activities and the like. So I think that they could easily do H225 at 120 billion in revenue. Now, what's the market cap of this firm? Our current market cap is 213 billion. Market cap is the figure you get when you multiply a company's shares by its unit share price. Now remember, one share of UAC is trading at what, 73 naira. UAC has 2.9 billion shares issued in total. So 2.9 multiplied by that gives you that. So you have a market cap of 213 billion. If I'm just looking at these numbers, I've always been of the opinion it doesn't make sense. Even though you can argue from an earnings per share basis, it simply doesn't make sense. And you can't have a firm with 230 billion in revenue trading below its, the market cap of a firm is trading below its revenue. How does that make sense? So clearly there should be some more upside, but let's focus on this for I'll come back to in a bit. I'll get back to that. FY25 revenue estimates 230 billion, current market cap 213. Maybe, okay, let's even just for the sake of argument say, look, maybe it's fairly valued, right? I doubt, but obviously, and again I say it does not make sense to have a firm, this firm, trading below its market cap. You can't have 230 billion in revenue and you, simply put, if we were to acquire this firm today, if UAC says, hey, we want to sell, I make 230 billion, they will not sell this firm at 230 billion. It just makes common sense. Nobody is going to sell a firm at its base level revenue. So clearly speaking, you're going to add a premium to it. Now, what that premium is, you be the decider of that. But this is where I think the firm will end with maybe 230 billion in revenue for FY 2025 financial year. Now let's go to earnings per share or profits per share estimate for FY25. H125 earnings per share actual 2.38, Q2 2025 actual 1.32. I think my estimate that this probably is going to go up. And just in case you're wondering, now I've kind of split revenue from earnings per share. Earnings per share is profit per share, revenue is how much they make. That's because in between revenue and your profit, you have expenses and all that. Finance costs going up largely, and the likes and all. So let's, for simplicity's sake, I've put revenue at the top, I've estimated revenue. Profit per share, I've estimated that, right? Just to make it simple. Now, H125 earnings per share actual or profit per share earnings per share, the same thing. Profit take profit made by the firm divided by number of shares. H125 earnings per share is 2 naira 38 kobo. Q2 25 earnings per share. Q2 is the last 3 months of the first 6 months of the year. It's 1 naira 32 kobo. I think it will accelerate to 1.5. So if you have it at 1.5, that's 3 naira in earnings per share for the second half. 3 plus 2.38 gives you 5.38. Current price 73. In essence, this means the stock is trading at 13.5 times earnings. In my view, I think this stock should be trading at least 15 times earnings. So we're kind of close to fair value. Stock is at 73. In my view, if you multiply 73 and 15 times 5.38, let's see what that gives you. That should be over 75 naira. So I wish I could just minimize my calculator online, but let me use my phone. 15 times 5.38, that gives you, that's 80.7. Stock is at 73, so you might argue maybe there's 10% upside, so it's close to fair value, right? So this is my estimate for FY25, but this is just for UAC alone as a standalone firm. The next thing is, how much is Chivita worth? How much is revenue? And it's a private firm because Chivita is owned by Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is not listed. You can't see Chivita numbers, but we have some inkling. Luckily, the media reports, and you can see it online. It's fairly credible. I think Nairametrics, I probably will drop the Nairametrics link somewhere in the comment section. Now let's assume that Coca-Cola bought Chi Limited somewhere in the 1 billion range. Credible reports. It's a private. The thing about the private space is, when they are doing deals like this, they don't say yes, they don't say no, they don't tell you because they don't have to tell you. They don't know you. They're a private entity. Coca-Cola is a private entity. It's not listed in Nigeria. And Chi, they bought, wasn't listed. So, but those reports are credible. Assume Coca-Cola bought Chi Limited for a 1 billion range. How much would you buy? How much would a firm, if you buy a firm at 1 billion, how much should it generate in revenue for that transaction and profit for that transaction to make sense? In my view, at bare minimum case, I think that Chi probably generates somewhere around 200 million in revenue, and I'm using a 10% profit margin, and that gives me $20 million in profit. Now you convert that to Naira terms, that will translate to somewhere around maybe 300 billion in revenue and 30 billion in profit. Let me just amend that so it's easy to read. Profit, and then can we expand? Yeah, so 300 billion in revenue, 30 billion in profit. That's my estimate. I think, and you might then argue, if Coca-Cola bought Chi Limited, I hope I still have time. Okay, LinkedIn fam, you're going to get a YouTube link because very likely I'm going to blow past the 15-minute mark. I can't help it till LinkedIn decides to give me more space. At this point, I just simply don't have the time to be doing separate versions for LinkedIn. It will have to be a really major story, like ultra huge story, for me to do that. So my LinkedIn fam, you very likely are going to just have to watch on YouTube, or maybe I'll post the slides on Green Ticker Tales and then retweet and you can follow. So back to it. What was I saying? At worst case scenario, if you assume, look, you can't buy a firm if I buy a firm for $1 billion, 10-year payback, the firm has to be doing maybe 100 billion in revenue, a million in revenue, and maybe 10 million in profit. So my estimate is that, look, I think that Chivita probably generates 300 billion in revenue and makes 30 billion in profit. It's possible it's half of that. But even if you say half of that, that's fair. Now you might then ask, and I was going to this before I got distracted, why, how much do you think UAC bought this firm? I don't know. Nobody knows yet. In my view, going by the trend we are seeing, some of the, like say, divestments we've seen in the market, I think that they probably will end up buying this firm for around maybe 200 to 300 million, maybe tops $500 million. Why? Um, it's possible that, look, these firms, my feel is it's possible Coca-Cola said, look, we want to exit this space. We want to conclude this transaction on time. And so they very likely Coca-Cola would take a loss on this deal. And I say so because if really the deal was making them that much money, they wouldn't sell. So it's a case of expectations you're getting, you're not making that much, or it's a case of, you know what, let's go face our main money maker, my Coke, Fanta, and all those things. So it's very likely Coca-Cola would sell this thing for less than $1 billion, or for less than what they bought it. We don't know what they bought it, but media reports have it at $1 billion. So, but let's leave let's leave whatever amount UAC is paying for it. Let's work with a guesstimate on what this firm very likely is earning. So let's say 300 billion in revenue, 30 billion in profits. Now, my second chapter of guesstimates, you say UAC plus G, maybe by FY 2026, they should have the combined entity. What would the revenue be? I think that revenue will be in the 500 billion mark. So the question I would ask is, if a firm makes 500 billion in revenue, what market cap should that equate to? I think at bare case minimum, this firm post-transaction, if my numbers are correct, should be trading at a market cap that equates to revenue. That is just commonsensical in how you do things, or how the market should be. So bringing it down to the granular level, it means that a UAC post-transaction should be trading somewhere in the 100 naira to 150 naira mark. Right? Market cap now is what? 210. So if you do 100% of that, 210, and I mean, in fact, it's actually more than 100%, but you can work it out. That's like maybe 2.5 times what the stock is. The stock is at 73, so take 73, multiply that by 2.5. That should give you, let's see what it gives you. It should give you maybe the 150 range. In reality, it'll be more. I was joking with a friend of mine that, look, I'm very conservative in how I do my numbers. So that gives you 182. But you can say, look, worst case scenario, let's see this stock at steady state trading at 100, 150, and then we can then evaluate once the transaction closes. So that's my view. This is where I think this stock should be trading at. Now, for those who don't wait to the end, well, you'd miss out, because I mean, I'm not the type to just say, yo, I think UAC should be 150 naira or 200 naira, and then you just jump and leave. No, you must lay out your thesis as an analyst in what you do. So what are the unknowns? How is this transaction going to be funded? We don't know yet. Is it equity? Are they going to raise capital? Is it debt? Are they going to borrow? Is it a mix of both? If debt is involved, at what cost? We don't know. That is an unknown. And because it's a critical unknown, because higher cost mean lower earnings per share and ultimately lower multiples. So in essence, this is the unknown part. But there are two ways to approach this stock. You can wait till you have all the pieces of the puzzle and then you react, or you can wait or can act on the part information, half of the picture you have, and then work out. But you can work out your numbers, whichever way you look at it. If you agree that this firm should be materially bigger, are the best bet, and luckily the firm is trading at 73 naira, so you can say, look, post transaction, maybe this stock should be worth 100 naira. So that's upside, and all that. That's half of 73 is what, 30. Half of 72 is 36. Half of 33 is maybe like 37 or so. So that still puts it at 100 naira at fair value and all that, and maybe possibly more depending on what the transaction does. So audio version will be up, not sure when, but it will be up either before the video or when the video comes and all that. So you can, and do listen to the audio, because you'd have more content go out on audio than on video and the likes. You can find it Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music. You also have content on greentickertales.com. I would probably put this on the website there, so you get an inkling. And because I initially wanted to have all these numbers on the table, but slide maybe a bit difficult. Maybe it might be easier, but let me know in the comment section. If you want it, I can put up the slides. I'll just put up all my thesis in one Excel sheet and then put a picture of it on YouTube. But let me know if I have enough yeses in the comment section. I'll do so. So thank you for staying put. Those who stayed put through, I hope you found this engaging, and have yourselves a lovely day ahead.